Oh, we are live. What's up, guys? How are you doing? Say hello in the chat for me. We're about to begin. Let me know where you are watching this from as I adjust this because I'm not prepared. Oh, I'm getting an ad. Oh, okay. Guys, let me know where you're from. Let me know where you're watching this from. Say hello there in the chat. We're going to get started in a few minutes. We're just going to give it a couple minutes because we started a few minutes before 10 o'clock. And welcome to the live stream. All right, the GOAT. Is that your name? The GOAT? What is that? The greatest of all time? That's what GOAT stands for. England, we got Sweden, Chicago. I have to look down at my iPad here. Oh, we got Wilkes-Barre, PA. That's pretty close to me, actually. We're doing Canada and Toronto. I have one of my close friends lives in Toronto, so that's really cool. Egypt, Mo Salah. We got Italy, Kenya, Bangladesh. That's all right. You don't need to use sound. You can just, you'll have to read my lips and kind of guess what I'm saying. Hi, I play for Liverpool FC. Do you play in the Liverpool youth team? Let me know because that's freaking awesome, man. As you know, I'm a Liverpool supporter, so that's awesome. Faroe Islands, Mars. I knew we'd get someone from Mars eventually. How's it going in Mars? Malaysia, India, Australia, Slovakia. I think that maybe the Slovenia, Slovakia, Australia, Barcelona. Nice. Romania. Ooh, that T did not go down well there. All right, I always I always ask where are you guys coming from because we got like a real diverse group of people. We got Iraq, California, Zimbabwe, Uruguay, Madrid, Nepal, New York, Greece, Somalia. Come on. Are you actually in Somalia? All right, Thailand. By the way, I'll be visiting sometime soon in the next few months. So that's going to be really fun. India. Ah, man, I love how many of you guys are watching from all across the globe. That always blows me away. Anyway, so the topic of today's live stream, as you have already noticed, is different pathways to make it into the pro game, because I want to just go over some of the other ways you can become a pro, or at least give you an idea of different ways, because I think a lot of people, Everton Youth Academy, ooh, that's fine, that's really cool. There are many different ways to become a professional footballer outside of the ways you think. So for those of you who have not joined us, I will actually be in Malaysia at some point when I'm in Thailand. I'll be very close to Malaysia. Will this be uploaded as a video later? It will be. For those of you who have to leave early, this will eventually be on the channel. What's up, Skill R7? Scotland, awesome. My dad's from Scotland, so I always love it when someone from Scotland's watching. He's from Dumfries. All right, so just again to explain how this is going to work, we are going to obviously answer your questions that you send me in the community tab. I have them in front of me here. We're going to answer the question. That's the main title of this live stream, which is different ways to become pro. How you doing, Andrew? Good to see you. And we're also going to answer your questions right there in the chat. Oh, you're in Dumfries, so you really? Is that what that said? And Galloway. Oh, that's awesome, mate. Yeah, I have a lot of family in Dumfries and Aberdeen, actually. So, I've been to Scotland many times. It's almost like a second home to me at this point. All right, let's see what some of your questions are. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to answer a question that I like from the community tab from you guys, and then I'll answer one from chat, and we're going to go back and forth. Hey, what's up, Lily? That's my friend in Toronto, actually, that I just mentioned. We have Glasgow, Morocco. I support Liverpool, so no, I do not support West Ham. Why, is there like some suggestive West Ham thing in the back or something, like a hammer? I don't know. Iceland, what's up, man? All right, so while you guys are kind of getting there in chat, and I'll talk about agents in a bit with this video, don't worry. I'm going to find the first question that is in the comments or in the community tab, and then we're going to answer some of your questions in the chat. I have like multiple devices going right now, so I can see everything, guys. So if you see me like looking down or looking over here, that's just me looking at your questions. So let me find one here in the community tab that I really like. There was definitely some questions I really thought were good. So let's see what we have. Okay. All right, so here's a question that I really liked, and I think this is from a parent, and it's how can you best prepare a young kid in America that allows for the potential to be aligned with international peers with the ultimate goal of being a professional footballer? Kid is 7 years old. So the question here is essentially, how can a kid in America who's 7 years old receive similar training to maybe a kid in Spain or England or, you know, some of the bigger, traditionally bigger footballing nations. And it's a good point. Now, the reason kids in Spain, Brazil, Argentina, South American, and European countries do so well is one, because obviously the sport is much more coveted there. People love it a lot more. But, you know, it doesn't really, you know, if a kid's 7 years old and is getting individual training and deliberate training, they always have a chance of becoming just as good as a kid, say, in a Spanish youth system. The reason a kid becomes good isn't because they're Spanish, isn't because they're English, isn't because they're Brazilian. It's the kind of training they receive when they're young. So if they're put into an academy around professional coaches and they're getting training all the time and the right kind of training, they're obviously going to become really, really good. But if you can replicate that same training with your own son, or if you guys are younger, or it really doesn't matter what your age is, if you can replicate the same kind of training, you will become just as good. You know, there's a real myth going around like it's some virus, but there's a myth about talent that's been, you know, really going around forever. Talent's not as big a factor as you realize. It really does have to do with the kind of training you receive, how young you've received the training and all that. So if you have a kid that's 7 years old, you know, really do your research on what are kids that are 7 years old doing in academies in Spain, doing in the Barcelona Academy, in the Real Madrid Academy. What are they doing in the Chelsea, Arsenal, Man City, Man United, Liverpool academies over in England? What are they doing in South America? What are they doing in these places? And then you want to try and replicate that as much as possible. Now, one thing I would say with kids that are very young is keep it fun. The last thing you want to do is get super serious about it and, you know, discipline your kid in a way to make sure it's a fun thing first. But if you want to get the similar results to kids that are in other countries and that are in more traditional footballing nations, you just have to try and replicate that kind of training. So what are they doing? You know, I can tell you with academies at that age in European nations and things, they really, really work on the technical stuff when they're younger, like a lot. You know, there's a reason, you know, for example, Spanish players are really technically gifted and really clean on the ball, great passing and movement, because they learn that from a very young age. Like, it's second nature to them. You know, they're very technically gifted because they work a lot with the ball when they're young. You know, they're not necessarily working on tactics. They're not necessarily, you know, obviously working on too many physical components like strength or anything. They're really, really, really focusing on getting that ball at their feet. They're focusing on movement and things like that, working as a team at a young age. They're focusing on their ball control, their passing. So, I mean, as a 7-year-old, I would get the ball at his feet a lot, do a lot of technical type training, because as he gets older and he starts moving more into a team environment, then he can start learning more tactical stuff and how to use those technical skills he's built up in a more team environment. But, you know, I can't emphasize this enough, because the sooner you learn the technical stuff, the great passing, you know, ability with the ball in your feet, you know, being able to maneuver the ball with both of your feet, and just being comfortable on the ball overall with it at your feet, the sooner you learn that, the better. So that's what I would focus on. But again, start looking up, and you can find stuff like this on YouTube where they have videos, certain channels release videos of like 7, 8, 9-year-olds at the Barcelona Academy training. And start looking stuff up, like what are they doing? And if you start, you know, looking at that stuff, what are they doing? And you start replicating that stuff, you know, your kid will become, you know, you will start growing in the same way. You know, it doesn't matter what country you're in. It all depends on the type of training you're receiving. You could be in India and replicate the training that someone in an academy in a European nation is receiving. Now, they have the best coaches and the best facilities, and that does play a part. But if you replicate it as close as you can, you know, your kid's gonna grow much more rapidly. So that's what I would do. And also for, you know, start doing individual training with them young. Because again, the more they play, the better they'll get. The more they're working with the ball, the better they'll get. You know, most kids in America play on their teams, and they have like 1 or 2 practices a week at a youth level. Like, I have a little brother who's 10. Oh, thanks, the GOAT. I appreciate that. I have a little brother who's 10, and the teams he plays on, they only have practice like once a week, maybe twice a week. That's not enough. So there has to be individual training filling in those gaps where team training's not, allowing him to get as much play time. So that's very important. You need team and individual training. All right, so let's get one of your questions in the chat, and then I'm going to start talking about a little more about the professional game, academies, things of that nature, and just some other ways into the pro game. So let me get some of your questions in chat. I'm going to be looking down at my iPad here to see what we have. Yeah, don't worry, Randy. We will be talking about that next. Different ways to become a professional soccer player. That will be coming in. So let's get one of your other questions in here, and then we will talk about that. College soccer we'll be talking about in a moment too. Excuse me, because that's one of the ways to become a pro. So let's see what we got here. Okay. Oh, yeah, someone just mentioned that there's a kid from Spain. You thought you were technical, but goddamn, he can move the ball with both feet. Yeah, exactly. They learn this stuff very young, so that's the reason they're so technical. They're taught it young. It's not that he's Spanish and therefore inherently better at football. Now, it's more in their culture, so he grows up under that influence, but he's not more genetically talented. He just learns certain things from a younger age. Like, I believe getting comfortable with the ball at your feet, both of your feet, things like that is one of the most important things you should learn from a young age. Okay, so here I'll answer this question, and then we'll start getting into the title of this live stream. And the question is from Futbolista Zurdo, which is how to recover after an intense game to play the next day. Honestly, unless you have a game the next day, you don't want to play the day after a game. See, here's the thing. When you mix up your training, you want to mix it up into lighter days, recovery days, intense training days, things of that nature. And you don't want every day to be intense. You don't want every day to be 100%. It's just not good for your body. One of the most important things when it comes to developing your body, making sure you're healthy, is you need the proper rest time. Professionals usually don't play the day after a match. So, during the season, in the Premier League season, let's say Chelsea has a match on Saturday, they're not usually going to do like an intense training session on Sunday. They'll probably do a recovery session, or they may even have the day off. Like, I don't know that for sure, but they're not going to go in the next day and do an incredibly intense session because they just did, they just played a full match. The most intense workout you really can have in football is a full 90-minute match. Like, that's what you're training for. So the best way to train is to really be playing as many of those as possible, but you need to get your rest. So after a game, rest. It's a rest day. It's a recovery day. It's stretching. It's mobility training. It's nothing that really should not be much exertion at all. You should be recovering, ice baths maybe, get a massage, be doing your stretching again, like I said, mobility. Now, if you have I know in youth soccer, sometimes you have tournaments where you have games, like 3 games a day. I used to play in those. And when you're young, your body can recover faster. I would just make sure you're doing stretching in between matches, doing, some mobility work, keep your blood pumping, make sure you warm up properly. That's going to be huge. Use ice to your advantage. But, if you can, do not play the next day after a game. After a full 90-minute match, do not play the next day unless you have to. Now, again, you can do a light session, but really be careful, because if you don't recover properly the next day, it's going to affect your training the day after that. So that's very important. All right, guys, so let's get into some of the different ways to become a professional footballer. I know that's why a lot of you want to hear. So let's go over a few different ways, and here's the reason I want to talk about this. Because I think a lot of players, especially a lot of younger players, think the only way to become a pro is going through an academy, is getting into a youth system, and then, or playing in like the Premier League, right? So, or the La Liga, or like a top tier league. And the thing is, the great thing and the beautiful thing about football being literally the world's game, being a game that's played everywhere, is there are professional leagues everywhere. There are professional leagues, yes, in England, in Spain, in Germany, but there are professional leagues in Thailand. There are professional leagues in Australia. There are professional leagues, everywhere. There are opportunities to play in so many places, and if you're willing to really go after the dream, if that's what you want to do, you want to play pro, there's a lot of opportunity if you're proactive about it. So we're going to go over that a little bit. Now, the first, we'll go over the traditional route. The more traditional route of becoming a pro, especially at the top level, is through an academy system. You're picked up from a young age in an academy in one of usually the more dominating football nations, and England, Spain, Argentina, Brazil. Now, these are usually where the best players in the world are developed, but not every great player went through an academy, just so you know. You see late bloomers, you see players go through different means. And so what I really want to get across is it's not just because you're not in an academy, just because you're not going the traditional route or the route that's covered mainly in the media does not mean you won't become a professional player. It just means you need to find a different way. So we'll get that one out of the way. Is academies. Obviously, if you're in a youth academy and they like you, you do really well, you get a contract, you're in the team, right? Or you at least have a contract with the club. Now, one thing I will tell you is a very small percentage of players in academies actually go on to sign for a professional club, especially at the highest level. It's a very low percentage. There's actually a documentary on YouTube you can watch about this, about money in football and about youth players in football. Yeah, and actually that's a good point. Someone said a lot of players in England go to the U.S. Yeah, I think that's him, Jack Harrison. Is he the one who went to university in the U.S. after getting released by West Ham? Let me know. You probably watched the same documentary as me, where it went over a lot of, what happens to youth players who get cut by their teams kind of suddenly. But that's the point. A lot of players don't actually make it through that route. So, a lot of players, like he's saying, from England will come over and play at universities in the U.S. or they'll play in the USL or try and make it in the MLS. A lot more players than you think. And a lot of players look at the MLS and the USL and leagues like this and go, these leagues suck. If you watch the game in real person and watch these leagues, you would notice that the quality is really, really good. Yes, it's not at the level of the Premier League. Yes, it's not La Liga. But you have to understand, like 0.0001% of professional players play in the top leagues, in the top teams. Think about it. Barcelona, Real Madrid, Bayern Munich, sure, strive to want to get to that level. But ultimately, only 11 players start on that team ever. And then with their substitutes, when you have players like, for example, Shaqiri was at Bayern Munich not making, it's the best of the best getting these teams, guys. And that's literally the smallest percentage of players. So don't think that just because a league is not the top league in a country, or it may not seem as good as this league. Stop comparing leagues in that way. If you want to become a pro, there's so many different ways to get there. So that's the most traditional one, is the one you see on TV, the players you see doing that. So that's one pathway into pro, is the academies. But like someone said, that's very difficult to do. Next pathway, especially if you're in the U.S., is college. College is a great way. If you get into a good university, you can make the draft system for the MLS. So we're going to talk about that for a second. Now, with the U.S. Draft system, there are many things I don't like about it, but there are many things that are great. And yeah, we're going to talk about college right now. So with colleges, especially if you get on a good Division I team, you get scholarship money, and you can stay relatively injury-free and play well, you have a chance of making what's called the draft, the MLS draft, which means you're basically almost guaranteed to be picked up by an MLS professional team and get on their roster. Now, it doesn't end there. There have been many players that have been drafted and haven't made it and haven't had their contracts renewed and things like that. So don't think that means you're absolutely making it, but that is one way to do it. Now, college soccer is a very high level, regardless of what division you play in, Division I, 2, or 3. They're all very, very, not all, I'd say 1%, 2%, 3% of players make it into a good college team. Be careful with college, though. There are really bad college teams. But here's the thing. Do you need a lot of money to play Division I college? Not really. If you get a scholarship. If you're smart about it, you don't. However, it can be. So here's what this is what I'm going to talk about. College soccer, if you want to get an education while playing, is perfect. Or if you want to play and that you're just going for footballing purposes, if you can get yourself a scholarship, that's beautiful. College can be very expensive, though, if you don't have a scholarship, especially colleges in the U.S. So you really need to determine, if that's what you want to do, because you don't have to go through college to get into the professional game. It definitely helps. For example, because I went to college, I have connections with, my coach from that university that I went to and other coaches who have connections in the professional game. Can you go pro if you skip college? Absolutely. We'll get into that in a sec. But college is definitely a good route. And one of the most important things is developing connections while you're in college. Because especially if you're in a D3 or a D2 school, you have plenty of options to go into the professional game if you're good enough. But you need connections. You need to make sure you become friends with your coach. You need to make sure that you are creating the connections that are going to help you later if you want to go on to be pro. Like, I can't tell you how many opportunities my college coach has sent my way because of our relationship. Because, I even did an interview with him recently. And guys, if you want to know more about this, go check out the interviews I did with my college coach, because he talks about how players can get into the professional game from college. Idiots actually think they're going to go pro. I mean, well, that's a kind of a silly statement, because, there are plenty of players who have gone pro, and if you never believe that you can, you never will. That's one of the big things, too. If you don't believe you can, I mean, of course you won't. If you don't believe in yourself, you won't. But there are many opportunities. Again, it doesn't need to be the top league. There are leagues in many different countries. So college can be a great way, but again, choose your program carefully. Again, even if you go to a D3 school, I know Division III players who have gone on to become pros. Okay, so college is another way into that realm. I'm moving from England to the U.S. and hoping to make it into the MLS. Any tips? Are you just like moving and that's it, or are you moving and then playing in a college? Again, because with these things, connections, you need to go through a system. Like, you want to be playing in the USL and MPSL, leagues like this, to get scouted for the MLS. But also, guys, remember, there's the USL, there's a division below that, which I think is it the MPSL? NASL, something like that. These are still professional leagues, and once you're in that professional system, it gets a lot easier as well. You can get an agent. An agent's another way to help you get into the professional game. Again, agents aren't going to take you on unless you're a good player, and you can prove that to them. A lot of agents are going to want you to have past professional experience of some kind before taking you on, or a recommendation from a coach or something like that. Again, why connections are so important. So again, one of the most important things when you want to become a pro is really building those connections, guys. So don't miss out on that. Build connections with coaches. Be proactive with that. In fact, I'm making a video sometime soon that's going to be going over how you can start getting scouted by better club teams, so youth teams, club teams, better college teams, and even pro teams. And that's going to be important because, again, especially at the lower levels, it's not as, there's a lot of opportunity for you guys to do it, but you need to be building connections. You have to be proactive. I got a trial with a pro team simply by contacting them through their Facebook group. Now, obviously, I knew some of the people involved, but I contacted their Facebook group and said, hey, look, I played at this college, I think I'm good enough for your team, and can I just come out to a practice? They were about 2 hours away from me. Can I come out to a practice and have you assess me? And they actually offered me a contract after seeing me play, but I wasn't able to play because of injury. But that's an example of, if you're just proactive, what can happen. You can't sit back. Here's the thing. You can't sit back and just expect a pro team to come to you. You can't, especially if you're not getting through the draft, or you're not in an academy. Things are not just going to happen. You're not going to be sitting here one day, even if you're the best player with a professional team going like, oh, I just accidentally saw you playing, here's a contract. You have to be very proactive, but the more proactive you are, the more likely it is that you'll have an opportunity. So, oh wait, hold on. So someone asked me, how didn't I go pro? I know it's hard, but how good were you? What made you not go pro? So I made a video on this. You can check it out. But again, like I said, I was offered a contract at I think Division III level in the United States, or Division IV, something like that. And this was 3 years ago maybe, and I re-hurt my back. I had a back injury I had in college, and which prevented me from signing that contract. But regardless of that, you can look at the video I went over on why I did not become a pro. There's a lot of things I did wrong. As far as good enough, I think technically yes, but there was a lot of things I didn't do. And this is why I'm telling you guys, you got to be proactive, you got to be committed. Not everyone becomes a pro. You don't just become a pro because you want to become a pro. You have to put in so much work. You have to make so many sacrifices. You have to be so committed. I mean, you can watch the journey on YouTube. Many players are doing journeys on YouTube about getting a pro contract, and you can follow their journey and look how hard these guys work. And I can recommend one to you guys. Sheldon Tweedy is one of my favorites who does this, and he uploads a video every single day about his journey. He's on day like 200 something, and he's kind of going over the process of chasing that pro contract, of going after the dream. And you can see how much sacrifice, how much work goes into it. Also, yeah, Become Elite, who I believe, he is a professional player, or at least he's still a professional player. A lot of people, I watched one of his recent videos and people were like, oh, you're not technically a pro. He's professional level, guys. Just because he's in New Zealand doesn't mean he's not. He's professional. And Sheldon Tweedy, again, is a great one to watch, simply because, yeah, Brandau, I can't pronounce his name, but he's actually involved. He comments on this channel a lot. And I would say go watch him because he's also doing it as well. So Sheldon Tweedy, Brandau, Matt Sheldon, these are great. Become Elite. These are great channels to watch because they are taking you through the journey. They show you All Attack's a great channel. It's a great channel for like tutorials and stuff. But Become Elite, Sheldon Tweedy, Brandau, they're great channels because they're showing you the journey and they're showing you how much commitment it takes to get to the level they're trying to get to. It shows you how much hard work it is, how many sacrifices they put in, because guys, you can't kid yourself. There are people like that doing that, meaning you have to work just as hard as the Sheldon Tweedies. You have to work just as hard as the Brandaus and the Matt Sheldons. Why? Because they're vying for those professional places. It's a competitive sport, meaning if you're not working that hard, if you're not developing the game as much as they are, they're going to be taking your spots in these teams. So if you want an idea of how hard you have to work and how much you have to commit, it's watching these channels. They will show you literally through examples, through their videos, of how much work it takes. Will John's another one of my favorite YouTubers. I think he is a pro right now, so I don't know if it's going to show you although he has some videos that kind of goes over his journey into the professional game, so great stuff as well. I'm just recommending channels like Sheldon Tweedy. And yeah, Michael Cunningham is another good one. Again, guys, he's already a pro. I'm saying, like, Sheldon Tweedy is a guy trying to become a pro, and I'm trying to give you an example of how hard someone's working to get there, so that's how hard you have to work. Michael Cunningham, yeah, 7MLC, he's a professional player, but yeah, you can follow all these channels and it shows you how much work you have to put in. You literally have to make it a lifestyle. If you watch the video I did recently with my college coach, he mentions this too. He's a former pro player, and he's coached players that went on to go pro, and he's won titles at the college level. And he said to me in the interview, like point blank, he said, many players want to go pro, and there are many players who are good enough to go pro, but they're not willing to commit and put in the work and do what's necessary to get pro. They don't live the lifestyle that is needed. In fact, he was telling me about a player of his who just graduated, and he told me, this guy's good enough to go pro, but he might not because he's not continuing to work out. He's not doing what he needs. He's not disciplining himself, because now that he's out of the college game, he doesn't have coaches telling him what to do. And he's saying if he gets his act together, he could become a pro. But if he doesn't put in the work, he won't. So even though I'm giving you these different ways that you can become a pro, they're all useless unless you're putting in the work to become a pro. So again, watch those channels because they'll give you some more ideas also of how to get into that pro game. But another thing also is to kind of open up your mind to the possibilities, because again, there are pro leagues everywhere. Another guy, a friend of mine, David Rowley, who has a channel on here. He's played in like one of the tiers in Germany. He's played in Thailand. He's currently playing professionally in Malaysia. That's 3 countries right there that he's played. I think in Australia too. That's 4 countries again where he's living the dream, playing professionally. And if David sees this, I'm glad to see your arm got better. He had an injury to his arm, but again, there's so many professional leagues that if you have the commitment, the drive, and you're proactive about it, you can play somewhere if you're good enough. So again, you don't need to think that if you don't make the Premier League, your career's over and you can't do it, or you don't make La Liga, it's over, or you don't make MLS, it's over. No, if you want to actually pursue this as a career, there are many places to do it. But again, got to have the commitment, got to have the work rate, got to have the consistency, got to have the willingness to sacrifice many, many things. You know, it's not going to be as lucrative, by the way. A lot of pros, you know, they struggle to make money. It's not really secure because, you know, you look at Matt Sheldon, for example, playing in the USL, second division in the United States, very high level, gets an injury, and now he's trying to get back to that level through injury. You know, they only get like 9-month contracts most of the time, or a year contract. So, you know, there's a lot of sacrifices you have to make. You have to always be on your game. You have to keep your head up, because if you give up, you know, you're done. All right, so that's my little rant on professional, you know, what it takes. Again, not much craze of football in India. There may not be much craze of football in India, but that doesn't matter. You don't have to allow that to affect you. You can do training on your own. You can get better on your own. If you can afford it, get yourself a training program, things like that. Do I know the app Gold Cleats? Hold on, let me see this. It's a good way for scouts to notice you. Okay, so here's my thing with agents and scouts and apps, is be careful with apps and scouting apps and agent apps. Most of the time, I find that these aren't that effective. You know, they have them for colleges too, where you can get a profile on a website and you can like upload footage, and college coaches will look at it. In my experience, and with college coaches I've spoken to, they don't look at these things. Now, I've never heard of that app, so maybe it's good, but I remember talking to a coach. I went to a camp and he was speaking about these apps and these websites that where you put your profile on and it's supposed to like send it to college coaches. They say they ignore those completely. If you want to create those connections with college we're talking about now, just contact the coach. Contact him directly and say, I'm interested in your program. Here's where I play. Here's my position. Here's some footage of me, right? You know, so don't I mean, there's nothing wrong with putting yourself on an app or putting yourself on a website, but don't expect them to do the work for you. Don't expect that you put yourself on a website and then it's like, okay, I can just sit back and relax and the website will do all the work and I don't have to do anything. No, you got to do everything you possibly can. So, you know, don't rely on others to make your dream come true. That's like the message of this, guys. Be proactive. Don't expect you just get an agent and it's done. Continue being proactive. Don't expect that, you know, you put up your highlight video and some team's just going to come to you. Do as much as you can. Make connections. Always be working on your game. You know, you got to be ready for when that opportunity comes your way as well. All right, so let's get some more of your questions in the chat. I don't know much about the Indian Super League, but they have a league, so yeah, it's possible. I'm aiming to go to college in the U.S. Did you ask a question before that? Because I probably missed it. Hold on. I think becoming pro is related to maturity. I mean, you have to be, yeah, I mean, there is, to a certain degree. You know, you have to be disciplined, which takes maturity. You have to be willing to sacrifice instant gratification and other things, which takes maturity. Now, it doesn't come just down to that, but yeah, you need to be mature to go after it, because you need those things. You need to be disciplined. If you're not, you're not going to do it. Again, it depends how you define maturity, but yeah, absolutely. You need to be proactive. You need to be disciplined. You need to make sacrifices. Bruh, please retell the channels recommended. Okay, yeah, so here are the channels I recommended if you're interested in seeing what the pro journey looks like. I'm going to give you a few leagues that, a few people that are currently going after a contract, and I'll give you a few people who are already pro, and you can see what they do. So for people who are already pro, as far as I know, Become Elite, Matt Sheldon, he's been involved in the pro game for a few years. Take a look at him. He shows a lot of his training videos. He does these really cool vlog type videos that are really well edited, and you'll get a ton of value out of his channel. Become Elite, most of you guys already know him. Will John, which is Gula Remy, another great channel. His channel's been blowing up. He does amazing videos. Him and B. Millie, Professor B. Millie, they do incredible videos on their channel where they do like tutorials on certain players and a bunch of other stuff. And if you look at some of his older videos, he goes over some pro-related stuff as well. Michael Cunningham, which is 7MLC, he's another current professional player, I believe. He was playing in the second or third tier of the U.S. I don't know where he is now because, again, it changes every year. These are only year-long contracts usually. He's played in major indoor soccer league as well. So you can take a look at him. He'll show a lot of his great, stuff about his training. He shows a lot of his training stuff, so you can see what a professional does for training. So those are some guys who are already pro. My favorite channel for people who are chasing the dream, who are going after it, is Sheldon Tweedy. His channel's starting to grow, so he's on like day 200 something, and he's uploaded every single day of his journey to become a pro. He's been at Crawley and all these other teams, so he's showing you how much dedication it takes to get there. And I fully think he's going to sign a contract somewhere eventually. He's got the work rate. He's already a really good player. He's only going to become better. He's consistently learning. So follow Sheldon Tweedy. He shows you that. Brandow is a new channel. I think he is involved with Train Effective, or is at least training with them sometimes. I think he lives close and he trains with them a lot. So he's getting some good training and he's going after it. So those are some great channels to check out. I may have missed a few, but those are some of my favorites. Progressive Soccer is another really good one. He does a lot of really good tutorial videos, and he's been around on YouTube forever. He's like, like basically the legendary soccer coach of YouTube. So check him out. That's Dylan Tooby. So those are some good channels for you to check out besides this channel. And again, some of those are guys who are already pro, and a lot of those guys are, some of those guys are guys pursuing and actually pursuing becoming a pro, who are actually making sacrifices, who are actually, have the commitment and are living the pro lifestyle before actually being a pro, in the sense that they're doing the training they need to do. Okay, let's see. Let's get some more questions from you guys. I'm going to look through the community tab and see what you asked, and then I'll get some more questions here. We're already at 35 minutes, but I'm fine to keep going if you guys want me to. We haven't done one of these in a while, so we might as well do this a bit longer. And there's still over 100 of you here, so let's do this. So here's a good question. Here's a good question from Angel Montoya. How do you start using your body more effectively in a game? I play with older kids, and most of the time I lose control of the ball because I don't use my body effectively. So yes, this is a question I get a lot. How do you use your body effectively? How do you shield the ball? A lot of players think, and they tell me this, and it's frustrating because a lot of players say that they're small or they're not strong, and they're like shorter players, so they think they can't protect the ball. Well, look at Raheem Sterling. Look at Mohamed Salah. Look at old clips of Maradona. Will John made a great video recently on Maradona, of some of his skills, and one of the skills he went over was just his brilliant ability to shield the ball for someone who's so small. You don't need to be huge, big, or even that strong to protect the ball. It's all about getting yourself between the man and the ball and being smart about it. And again, if you really want to see an example of that, go watch that Will John video. I think it's his most recent one, and watch some old footage of Maradona. Diego Maradona. He's one of the best in history at this. You can watch Messi as well, is really good at this. Mohamed Salah is brilliant at this. Dybala. Look at a lot of smaller players and look at how they use their body, because they're smaller, you kind of see it more being used more effectively, because you're like, oh, how does he protect the ball? He's so small. And you'll see how they cleverly use their body to protect the ball. Now, of course, you want to be working on your strength. If someone's stronger than you, they'll be able to shove you off the ball a lot more. But you can work on that. But again, it is a technique. It is a skill to be able to shield the ball. It is a skill to be able to do that. So definitely is learnable. Watch those players I mentioned. And it's a very important skill to learn, by the way, because especially as you go up the levels, protecting the ball and not losing the ball is super important. And there's going to be a lot of times where you need to just use your body to protect the ball. All right. Let's see what other questions you guys have. We'll answer a few more. Why not make a weekly thing where you stream at the same time? Yeah, actually, guys, we're going to start doing live streams every week. We were doing that in the past. I wasn't able to do it recently because of some other kind of obligations I had, but we're going to start doing live streams almost every weekend. I won't be next weekend because I'm actually going up. I'm doing this interesting thing where I'm going up to a cabin for a week and I'm not using any technology for a weekend. So from Friday to Monday, so there won't be a live stream next week. But after that, we're going to be doing pretty regular live streams. Let's see what other questions you guys have. 10,000 hours, what's your opinion on the 10,000 hour rule? That's a good question. I get this a lot, actually, and a lot of people talk about the 10,000 hour rule. So let me explain something about it. Let me see. Oh, perfect. Hold on. I got it. Yes, here we go. I talk about this book so often, so I figure I might as well show you guys. I've shown it before, and this is one of my favorite books. There's a bunch of crap on it right now, and it's called Peak by Anders Ericsson, and basically the secrets from the new science of expertise. So what this book is about is this guy studied people who are experts in their different fields, so even soccer players, different athletes, pianists, musicians, other musicians, things like that. And he goes over and he debunks the myth of talent. So if you guys want to know why I always say talent isn't really a thing, this is why. This guy's research has almost proven without a shadow of a doubt that talent doesn't really exist. Now, the younger you start something, the better, absolutely. But talent isn't as much a thing as you think. There are certain indicators, like there are certain things if you'll become athletic or certain things like that. You know, your height you can't control, so certain body, like things about your body, you can't control. But when it comes to your actual skill and ability in something, it's not as much about talent. But anyway, this book goes over the 10,000 hour rule and how the 10,000 hour rule is a good kind of indicator, absolutely, because the more hours you put into something, the better you'll get at it. But there is a huge distinction that's very important. It's not about just putting in the hours. It's how you're using those hours. For example, if I put 10,000 hours into my soccer training, there could be someone who actually realistically puts in 7,000 to 8,000 hours and becomes better than me. Now, why is that? Because of the type of training they're doing. It's not about how much time and effort you put into things. It's about how smart that time and effort is used and what you're doing. It's called deliberate training. In my program, actually, I'm coming out with a program that's all about, you know, developing skills with the ball at your feet. And one of the deliberate things we do in this program is everything is deliberate training. And what that means is it's focusing on very specific things that will have the biggest impact on your game. So I could go out to the field, for example, and train for an hour and have no structure and not be really working on anything and just kick the ball around against the wall and do a few dribbling things, but I have no plan. It's not structured and it's not deliberate. Or I could go to the field, I have my training schedule. Whoa, excuse me, need some water. Been talking for a while here. So essentially, I could go to the field and just kind of do random shit, right? Or I could go to the field with a plan. I'm deliberately working on things that I've determined will help my game the most. I'm working on specific things. You know, I'm working maybe on specific things for my position. I'm working on specific things deliberately that are going to help me become a better player. So it's called deliberate training. Now you want to look that up. This book, half of it is about deliberate training, and that's how you become an expert about something. The more deliberate training you do, the better you'll become. Not the more training you do, the more deliberate training you do. Because think about it, guys. What if you did 10,000 hours or something, but you were using the wrong technique? What if you never learned the right technique and you did something for thousands of hours only to find out, holy shit, I've been doing it wrong the whole time? Do you think you're going to become that great? No, but if you do thousands of hours doing random things at the field like dribbling and juggling, well, this is what I'm saying about random things. I mean, I'm going there without a plan. Yes, I could go there and do random things like juggling and dribbling, and I'll still get something out of it as long as I'm focused and putting effort into it. But if a better way to do it would be to analyze my game, to analyze what I need to work on, and deliberately focus on certain things. Not all training is made the same. You know, if I deliberately focus on things that are going to give me the most impact, I get better in a shorter amount of time. So if I randomly go to the field and just do whatever, I'll grow maybe at this rate. But if I deliberately practice, I mean, it's always going to be like this. It'll be more like this, right? So that's why deliberate training is so much more important. So don't think about 10,000 hours. Think about 10,000 hours of deliberate practice, right? And it's more like actually 6,000, 7,000, or 8,000 hours that makes someone a master at something or an expert. But again, that's 6,000, 7,000, 8,000 hours of deliberate training, deliberate practice, focused practice. You know, if you just go to the field for an hour or two and you're just kind of kicking around randomly, you'll get maybe a little bit better, but not that much, honestly. Really not that much. It's not just about if you're training, it's how you're training. And how you're training isn't just the drills you're doing, it's also how focused you are. You know, it's also, are you getting into flow? Are you working on the right things? This is why I always recommend, if you guys can afford it, get into a program, get into a training program, get in front of, you know, get coaches, get a personal coach if you can afford it. Why? Why is that important? Because they will make you work on the right things. Why is getting a course important? Because it will help you focus on specific things that are going to help you, right? If you cannot afford one, get a free one. Now, a paid one's always going to be better than a free one, but if you cannot afford a training program to pay for one, look at Will John's channel. He has a 21-day program for free, right? 21 videos, 21-day program that you can do for free. Now, again, I recommend, if you can afford it, getting into a training program. For example, I have one that's $67. Train Effective has one. Become Elite, Matt Sheldon has 1,000,001 different training programs for different things. So think about it. That may seem like a lot of money, but how much does a video game cost? How much does it cost to get the new version of FIFA, or those new shoes that you want, or something that's not going to help your game? You know, it's all about where do you want to invest your money. You know, I would much rather buy a program from someone, like maybe a Become Elite's releasing something. I would much rather get that's going to help me than buy the next hot video game, or buy those shoes I don't need, or whatever, right? So if you really want it, you know, yeah, save up for a program that you think fits what you're looking for, and get in it, because then it's just about putting in the work, because it's going to tell you exactly what you need to do, right? All right, there's my little rant on that. It's getting like freaking hot in here too, so I'm gonna take this off. All right, guys, keep the questions coming. I'm gonna look in the community tab, and I'm gonna see if we have another good one in here. Let's see here. So yeah, keep them coming. I'm looking at both. How much do programs cost? So it varies. So certain programs, if you get a program that has like actual videos and descriptions, they're more expensive. So like I have a program that's about $67, but I'm giving discounts for it all the time. Actually, don't buy my program right now, because I'm moving it and upgrading it. So everyone who's already bought it, I'm gonna move you into the new program. But mine's $67 typically. I do a lot of discounts though, so you can get it for probably like $50. And that's like a video course. So there's actual video demonstrations. Become Elite has programs that range from $5 to I think like $70. I even have one of his. I have one of his fitness products that's $5. Like if you want to get fit, guys, and you're not fit, buy Become Elite's $5 fitness program. Like, it's like a month's worth of training that will get you in shape. For $5, are you kidding me? I mean, anyone can find a way to get $5 and do that. So that's another one. You can get, he has some other programs as well. And there's a lot out there. Progressive Soccer, I think, has plenty of programs. I don't know how much they are. But essentially, there's going to be many different programs based on how much you can pay. You know, you might only be able to pay for something under $100. You might be able to get one that's over $100. But just understand that investing in yourself is the best investment you're going to make. And if you guys want something that's tailor-made, not tailor-made, but something that's going to help you train better, then that's the way to go. Again, if you can't afford it, find a free program. Learn to create your own schedules. That's going to take more time and it's going to be harder. But, you know, it's better than doing nothing, right? You can still do it even if you don't have that much money. Is it okay to train soccer instantly after a workout? I feel so exhausted. Well, it depends on what type of workout you're doing. If you're doing like a high intense interval training running session, you probably shouldn't. But if you're doing like a lifting session, you're probably okay to do it. I mean, plenty of players will, you know, they'll do lifting, you know, weight training and their football training. I mean, if you don't need to do fitness if you're doing football training, you can tie in your fitness to your actual drills. So, for example, do some drills with the ball that also work on fitness. There are plenty of drills you can do that also work on fitness. So, and what I would do is when you go to the field and you have a fitness day, because you should not do fitness every single time, by the way. Again, there should be like 2 days maybe each week where it's super intense, where you're draining yourself to the max. Maybe 3 days if you want, if you're in a period where you're really trying to get in shape. But that's about it. The other days you don't want to exhaust all your reserves, because again, recovery is important. But if you're talking about like you want to make sure you're doing fitness, do it with your drills. At the end of your training, do some sprints, do something to work on fitness. You can do actual drills with the ball that work on your fitness. But yeah, if you go to the gym and do like interval training on a treadmill or something, or go to the track and do incredibly lung bursting, where you're exhausted type training, no, you don't want to then do your football training, again, but there's no need. You can mix them, you can combine them. So you don't need to even worry about that. Okay. What are the best ways to become a pro without spending money? Again, you just got to do, obviously, if you have more money to spend, it's better. But again, guys, this is what I'm saying. You got to be committed to doing this, and meaning you're going to have to spend money and find a way to, if you don't have money now, find a way to make money. I mean, you again, look at Sheldon Tweedy. He saved up money so he could go out and do what he's doing. And sure, he may have had support along the way, but it doesn't matter. He saved money. He probably worked for a while and saved money. I think Nick also did the same thing. He saved a bunch of money and then started Train Effective and then went after his dreams. Like, if you really want to do it, you got to find a way. Just because there isn't a way right now doesn't mean you can't fashion some type of way. That's a part of the sacrifice and the commitment you need to make. How to do it for free? I mean, you just do as much as you can with contacting people, get the right connections, but you need to make as many sacrifices as possible, and that might mean you need to work for, really be working while you're also training, Again, I think Sheldon Tweedy coaches, he does coaching while he's also going after his dream, right? After going after becoming a pro. Yeah, passive income, like, learn how to do things on social media. There's a ton of ways you guys can do it. Someone mentioned, yeah, social media, nerdy gamer, passive income on Instagram. That takes a while to build, but you can still do it. There's many ways you can do it. Do you think I will not be a pro because I don't have a passport? And you're 15, you have time, put in as much effort. Again, people have overcome worse odds. I can't tell you if you're going to become a pro. Anyone who asks me will I become a pro I don't know. Even if you're fucking amazing, sorry to curse, but even if you're amazing and I see you play, I still can't tell if you're going to become a pro. I've seen amazing players not go pro because they didn't have the commitment or they didn't do what they need to do. Don't think like this one roadblock is going to cause you not to become pro, or this one thing will cause you to become pro. You have to constantly be working on yourself, your game, and everything, and doing everything you can to get there, right? Character is important, absolutely. Your attitude, your mindset. Your mindset's going to be so important to you. Your mindset's going to be one of the most important things, because your mindset is what's going to help you on those days where you don't want to train to actually train. It's going to help you on those days where you want to give up to not give up. Developing a strong mindset is going to be massive for you guys who even want to pursue collegiate or professional football. Okay. Let's see what else. I'm going to have to scroll up for some questions as I look. No, that's not a good one. How to... no. Okay, so these are all pretty much general questions that in the community tab. They're good schedule. Okay, let's see what you have in the chat, guys. What is the ideal age to start? Whatever age you are right now. Start right now. Obviously, the younger you are, the better, I suppose, but start now. What are you waiting for? There's no ideal age. There's only right now. Don't worry about the past. Don't worry if you didn't start a while ago. If you want to go for it, start now. Start the process now. I mean, that's what every successful person tells you, is just if you want something, you got to start doing some stuff now. Let's see what else. All right, let's get some other questions in here, guys. Can I be a pro in Hong Kong? I don't know much about Hong Kong, but you said you're 12 years old. There's a lot that can happen between the ages of 12 to 18. So, even if there aren't opportunities in Hong Kong, just as much as you can, train every day, become as good as you can, and you never know what will happen, and be proactive. Right? So, it's all about that. There's regardless of what country you're in, sure, there are certain countries where there are less opportunities, but just work on your game as much as possible and be proactive. And guys, we live in a day and age where every single one of you right now could be contacting people on LinkedIn, on Facebook, making connections on Instagram, all of this stuff, which could help you get somewhere. There's no excuse in this day and age. You know, if you were in India like 50 years ago, yeah, it might become impossible, not impossible, but a lot harder to become a pro. Why? Because you basically can't contact anyone outside of India, right? You don't have access to all of these things that are going to help you to connect with people. I mean, you guys, there are people watching from like 20 plus countries right now on this stream. Like, that blows me away. That should blow you away as well. Like, there's so many opportunities to connect with people and contact with people, make contact with people, to travel places. You know, even if you can't travel right now, you may, if you work up to it, you will be able to. Like, right now is like the best age to be alive, guys. Like, right now we have people from multiple countries watching this stream. You know, my channel, people from everywhere watch it. I mean, that just is incredible and amazes me, and this day and age is awesome. So it doesn't matter where you are. It does not matter where you are. You can be in India, you can be in Pakistan, you could be in Australia, you can be in Malaysia, you can be in Thailand. You can do things in this day and age to contact people. You can make connections regardless. You know, I know people who build Instagram accounts in countries like India, who connect with people in those kind of countries. There are people who contact me who are coming from countries that aren't that traditional with football. But that's the beauty of this day and age. There's so much you can do now. There's so much opportunity. There are leagues everywhere. I mean, even if you're in India, again, I talked about how Thailand has a league. That's not that far off. Malaysia as well. There is an Indian Super League. Australia has loads of opportunities, exactly. And that's on the other side of the world from America. So you have opportunities in America, all through Europe, everywhere. You have opportunities everywhere. Open your mind, guys, to the potential of what you can do in this day and age. There's so much you can do, you know? So much you can do. So start now, you know, taking the steps you need to, and don't have this victim mentality. And I don't say this to be mean. Don't have a victim mentality. Don't have an oh, poor me mentality, because it will get you nowhere. I mean, ask questions, fine, but don't let a thought like I'm in a country that doesn't have many opportunities get you down, because that's not always going to be the case. And you know, you never know what can happen. This is a great, this is the age of opportunity, guys. So there's so much you can do. All right, Robert, how can I impress coaches at summer college camp? Oh, great question. Actually, I have a lot of experience with this. I used to go to them all the time, college soccer camps. So a great thing about camps is if you're good enough, you're right in front of college coaches and professional coaches. I used to go to a camp every year with my high school team, and the guy, so it was at a college, and I got scouted by that college and also by the college I eventually went to because he saw me playing there. So essentially, the best way to do it is you just got to play well while you're there. There's not much more to it, because a lot of camps have these programs not only to make money, but to recruit players. I was talking to my college coach, again, you can watch the interview, and one thing he said is they hold camps, Nike ID camps, and what they do is they recruit players directly from those camps. So if someone comes to his camp, Casey, who was my college coach, if someone comes to his camp, so let's say a 16-year-old player who's in high school comes to the camp, right, and he does really well at the camp, Casey's going to go up to him and be like, hey man, let me get your contact info, we're interested in you, you know, we're going to keep an eye on you, right? That's how you get on the radar of college coaches. You know, be contacting them as well. But if you want it from a college camp, you just gotta, you know, be proactive while you're there and play well. That's really it. But, you know, introduce yourself to the coaches. If you're interested in their program, let them know. Not while you're there, you know, make sure you impress there, but you can email them and say, I went to your camp, I'm interested in your program, I'd like to learn more, whatever. But just make them aware of you, because the thing is, if they don't know who you are, and don't think just because you went to their camp that they know who you are. You have to introduce yourself. You have to contact them afterwards, right? Because they have a lot of camps and a lot of players coming through. But make sure you stand out, and you'll have more of a chance, right? And the more you also, if a coach is interested in you, go to their camp multiple times. Like, I went to the same camp 4 years in a row, and that's what helped me as well. Like, because I was actually interested in that college. Okay. So yeah, but I'm glad you're going to one, because if you're interested in playing in the college game, going to a college camp is a great way to start getting in front of the right coaches. My father is teaching me, and he's been a pro soccer player in his country. That's fantastic, man. That's gonna use that. Learn as much as you can from your dad. Then have him train you, because nothing's gonna be better than being trained by someone like that who's been there and done that. All right, guys, we're going to do a few more questions because we're making our way to an hour. So let's get your final questions in. We'll pick a few good ones, and then we will end the stream there. Should I focus on fitness or soccer? I'll answer this real quick. Focus on both. Well, it depends. Where's your fitness? It depends on how fit you are. If your fitness is really bad, but both. You can do drills that are working with the ball and are fitness based. There's no reason you can't do both. Now, you definitely should have some days where you focus mainly on one or the other. But if you're doing drills, you're going to be working on fitness, and there are certain drills. Look up fitness soccer. Oh wait, shit. Look up soccer fitness drills with the ball, and you'll find plenty of drills that you can do. Again, you just gotta be smart about it, but do both. There's no reason why you do one or the other. Like, I'm just going to work on my fitness for the next month and not work on my game. No, just do both. Confidence help. If you need help with confidence, actually, guys, I meant to say this, but if you're still here, I'll tell you. In the description of this live stream, actually, if you go and click on the SimplySoccer Academy link. Oh wait, hold on. Actually, let me check this. It might be, actually, don't follow that link. It might be the wrong link. I don't know if I've changed it. Okay, here's what you need to do. Go to the home page on my channel, where my banner is and everything. And, oh shit, it helps if I go to the right place. Okay, so if you go to the main SimplySoccer homepage, in the top right by the banner, there's something that says SimplySoccer Academy. There's a little blue icon next to it. If you click on that, it'll take you to a page where it'll say SimplySoccer Academy, and on the page there will be a thing called the 7-Day Confidence Course. This is a free course, guys. So if you're struggling with confidence, there's no reason not to get into it. Click on the 7-Day Confidence Course, click on Learn More. It'll ask for you just to, it'll take you to a page, press Get Started Now, enter your email, and you will be in the free 7-Day Confidence Course. You want to help your confidence? I've given you all I know about confidence in that course. It's for free. I'm giving it for free because I know a lot of people struggle with it. I used to struggle with it, and confidence is so important if you want to be a good player. So if you're struggling with that, again, go to the SimplySoccer YouTube channel homepage, click on SimplySoccer Academy, the one on this page, and then go from there. I am doing more courses. The next course I'm going to release is a paid one. It's called Ultimate Soccer Skills. Some of you may already be in it already. We're moving it to a new website because the website it's on right now is very laggy, and I want to update some of the videos, but it's moving over. I will announce it when it's out for those of you who want to get in there. But I'll also be doing some other really cheap courses for those of you who can't afford the bigger ones. So things that are like $5, $10. I'll probably do a few other free ones. But just understand, obviously, the paid ones are going to be more in depth and better. But the confidence one, it is still really good. Like, if you are struggling with your confidence, get in there, man. Okay, let's get a couple more. Oh crap, I don't have the comments up. That's let's see. Okay, all right, guys, a couple more questions, and I gotta go. So let's get a few more. I really don't. It's for confidence. The confidence course. It's for developing belief in yourself and more confidence. Does joining clubs help you more than joining a pro team? Does joining a club team help you more than joining a school team? Caesar is asking that. It depends. Which team's better? If you're on a really you probably went to the right site. You got it wrong site. On the site, it should say, I think you're on the wrong site. I have 2 links. I need to change the links. Oh, the group I said on Facebook. I have to change some links, so you might be going to the wrong place. Again, go to the main SimplySoccer page, click on the SimplySoccer Academy next to the blue icon on the main page. You know what? Hold on. Let me see if I can show you. All right, here. I'm gonna move this. Do you see that? Blue icon. This is what you click on, right there. Okay, that's where you're clicking. All right. If that's not where you're clicking, it's taking you to a different page that needs to be updated, okay? So that page will take you to where you need to go. Now, getting back to Caesar's question, he asked, what's a better way to become a pro or get into college? Club teams or school teams? It depends. If you have a school team that's really good, school team. If you have a club team that's really good, when will I be doing another player analysis? Hey, Anita, I will answer that in 1 second. Let me just answer Caesar's question. It depends. So, for example, let me give you an example from my life. When I was in high school, my high school team wasn't that good, but my club team was really good. So what did I focus on more? My club team. It all depends on which team is better, which team will give you those connections you need. So you just need to determine that. There's no like one way to do it. It all depends on which is the better team, because the better the team, the more attention the team's going to get. So Anita, for my son, will you be doing another player analysis video? I want to. The problem is there's a lot of copyright issues that have been happening with those videos. So a lot of my current player analysis videos have been hit with demonetization and other things, even though they're completely under fair use. Unfortunately, on YouTube, a lot of the fair use things are out of whack. So I want to, and I'm going to try to. I will be trying to. But if he's wondering why I haven't made one in 3 or 4 months, that's the reason. It's just there's a lot of stuff going on with it's hard to make one that doesn't either get copyright claimed or demonetized. So that's the big reason. But if I can figure out a way to keep making them, because I really like making them, I think they're very valuable. If I can figure out a way to do it without that happening, which I think I might know a way, so I'm going to give it a go sometime soon. I will be, and hopefully we'll get some more in there, and I figure out a way. But thanks for the question. And there was another question I saw that, let me get back up to it, that I really liked. Let me see. Let me see. Oh, no, someone called me Matt. My name is Dave, so not Matt. What's up, man? Someone just said, Gianluigi. I hope I'm saying that right, man. Welcome. I know you've been on a lot of live streams, actually. Welcome. Good that we're doing these again. All right, guys. So no problem, Anita. Let's do one more question. One more question. Let's make it a good one, and then I need to go get something to eat because I am real hungry, and I need to go rest my voice for the rest of the day. Okay, this won't be the question, but Mohammed, you may not have any connections, but you have to develop those connections. Before I had connections, I had no connections. Everyone starts out with almost zero connections. You have to build connections. You have to be proactive. So yeah, you have to build those, man. It's not something that just happens. You aren't just born with connections, you know? You got to develop relationships and connections. All right, guys, one more question. I can't find it. It may not be on an iPad. Just wait till you're on a computer. The iPads are weird. I can't even. There's some things on YouTube I can't access from my iPad. I don't know why. You know, I have no idea. It is available on mobile and the computer, though, PC. Guys, all these pro questions I answered earlier in the stream. So once the stream's on the channel, just go back and watch the earlier parts of the stream. I went over a lot of the different pro questions you're asking about. So like, is it too late? So let's see what else you got. Thank you, Luke. Appreciate it, man. Okay, what's this? All right, so someone's asking, I'm planning on going to an academy after, we'll answer one more after this, but I like this question. I plan to go to an academy after 10th this year, instead of going to college. Any suggestions to try at the academy? Okay, so basically you're saying which should you do? And I don't know, because I don't know what academy you're talking about. I don't know which is better. Honestly, you just need to determine which is going to give me the best training, which is going to improve my game the most. It always comes down to that. It's the same with, I think I answered with Caesar. He asked, should I play for my high school team or my club? It's whatever's the best team. Give yourself. It's also, you have to be really brutal with your with what team you play for. Like, especially when you're younger, you need to be getting on the best team possible, because again, these youth years are going to be so important for your development. So like, I remember I joined a club team, and within 3 months I was on another club team because they were better. And you know, I didn't feel bad about that, because I knew, you know, I need to be playing with the best players I possibly can. So whichever is going to put you around the better coaches and the better players, that's what you ultimately should do, because that's what's going to improve your game the most. All right, guys, now I'm actually serious. One more good question, because my voice, I can already tell, is just, it is not doing well right now. I can hear it. Okay, I'm going to scroll up and find one. Keep asking the man, hey, what's up, Angel? Or is it Angel, Angel? Oh, Angel, I answered your question from the community tab earlier in the stream. I don't remember what time, but once it's back up on the channel, make sure you go back and you check that out, because I answered your question specifically. All right, guys, keep them coming. I wanna make sure. A lot of these I think I've already answered, so I wanna make sure we get one that we have not asked yet. Sully Gamer, look up Sheldon Tweedy on YouTube if you want to find out the journey to pro if you're starting from scratch. Seriously, that'll give you a lot of insight. All right, I'm gonna look in the community tab for one more as well, unless I see one in the chat that I like. That hasn't. Let's see, how many times a week should you? Okay. One more question, guys. Come on, bring them up. Sheldon Tweedy, yes. Yeah, AG08 put it in the chat, guys, if you want to know how to spell Sheldon Tweedy. That's how you spell it. Just search that in YouTube search. His channel should come up. I think he's got like 10, 11K subs. Go sub to him too, because his channel, I would love to see his channel grow more. Okay, let's do this one, since it's a bit different than the questions I'm getting. So, is it Gayatri? Gayatri? Is that how you pronounce your name, man? How to overcome negative thoughts and what people say. It's a good question. I get this question quite a bit, and it's a hard thing to overcome. But when it comes to getting over what other people think, I mean, ultimately, there's a lot of things that will help you with that. For example, having, you know, your dream and your vision, and making sure you're focusing solely on that. You'll start tuning things out. You know, in the end, you just have to stop caring what other people think and recognize that it's your life to live. You know, you get, as far as we know, this life once, regardless of what you believe religiously or about what happens after. You know, you get this period in your life right now once, so don't waste time. And who gives a shit what other people say? Honestly, who cares? I made a video recently, and it did really well, the 5 Pro video. A lot of people misinterpreted what I was trying to say in that video, and I got people going like, oh, this is crap, you suck, and all that. But I really just don't care, right? Because I'm not too concerned about what someone on the internet says about me, or what someone says negatively about me, because they don't know me, they don't know what's going on inside my head. So I'm not really too concerned about what those people think. And you kind of have to develop that mentality. You know, what is it you want? And then protect that. Go after whatever it is you want, and don't let these influences from outside of you influence you going after that. Again, that confidence course I recommended will actually cover this in more detail, and I'm getting a little tired, so there's probably some stuff I'm missing. But, you know, in the end, guys, it's your life. It's your dream. If you want to become a pro or whatever it is you want to do, stop caring so much about what some random person, or even if it's someone close to you, thinks, because it's not their life to live. This is your life to live. It is only your life to live, and no one else should get to live your life. So what is it you want to do? Who cares what anyone else thinks? Doesn't matter. I know that it takes a while to get over. You know, sometimes I still let certain things affect me, so it's not like you will never, you know, there will always be that a little bit, but you can get to the point where it stops affecting you that much. Okay. All right, guys. That's gonna be it for today. This is the longest live stream we've ever done. I'm like 100% sure. Oh, okay. Yeah, no, man, no problem. I'm happy to answer your question. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is gonna be it. We are going to start doing these live streams every single week. Not next week because I'm not going to be in town. I'm going to be up in the woods doing a bit of a technology fast. But after that, we will be doing more live streams. We will have plenty of videos coming out this week. We have a video coming out tomorrow. In fact, I'll let you guys know what it is since you're on the stream. It's going to be how to beat multiple defenders in soccer like a pro. So if you guys want to learn how to beat multiple defenders in the game, like more than one defender, that's what we'll be going over. All right, guys, thank you for all the love. Thank you for tuning in. I really do appreciate it. And I will see you in a video, in a live stream, in something. But take care, guys, and enjoy the rest of your day.